is going on, Woodward Bets Nation? Beer and Beastie back in the house. Scott having a good old time down there in Miami, so we'll let him enjoy the sun while we navigate this COVID world we're living in right now, Beastie. I mean, it's crazy. Things getting canceled left and right. Games are being postponed, and I don't know about you, but it feels very much like when this happened the first time in the very beginning, when the whole Rudy Gobert thing, and they're pulling people off the court. It's taking that same kind of feeling right now. So if you're not sure what we're talking about, the NHL said there's going to be a few teams that are going to be postponed for quite some time here. Calgary going to be out at least till December 23rd. Colorado and Florida out till at least 26. We had an NFL game moved earlier this afternoon. Cleveland and Oakland, which was scheduled to be played tomorrow, will now be moved to Monday. We had some other games they're looking at, Seattle and the Rams. We haven't heard anything definitive on that yet, but Beastie, kind of crazy. So we're going to have to be flexible here. It makes our job a little tougher, but, we're here to hang out with the people, talk some sports. How are we doing, my man, on this Friday?
Oh, I'm great. Yeah, thanks for having me. And hopefully Scott is well there at the pool and drinking his Modelo's. And I just want to, maybe it's not a PSA here, but I want to say we talk sports and we talk betting and we talk the fun of it, right? And I don't know about you, Chris, but at a certain point, DFS went from being making me feel, comfortable and safe. I'm at home. I got the tree up. I can be in peace here, right? And then we bet. And I know you've basically turned it into a career. You're making money off it. But I want to say, with my DFS content or what we're doing here at Woodward Sports, it's not not trying to put light on or make fun of everything that's going on with COVID. Obviously, I wish all the players the best, all their family, all their friends, all the coaching staff here. So when I say, or I don't want to speak for you, Beer, but when we say, well, this one's going to be fun or to get your mind off things, it's not at the expense of folks that are really going through this thing, because it's serious, and we're going on 2 years, maybe a little bit over now, of people just really getting sick and not coming back from it. So I don't want to act like DFS is all fun and games here, not making light of the seriousness here. But in that same token, again, we are here, we're home, the holidays are upon us. So I know, as I said moments ago, playing DFS, it's fun, it's entertaining, it's a hobby. I really enjoy it, and it is gives me at least some sense of normalcy. So hopefully we can navigate these waters, as you said, and I'm here for it. We got to pick and choose what we talk about and what teams we roll with, because they're just being canceled or taken right off the court in front of us before our very eyes.
Yeah, I mean, great PSA there. Some great points, and we're here. I mean, this entertainment. We're here. Maybe it's a distraction for some. Maybe it's informational to some. Maybe you get a laugh out of some of the stuff we do. Maybe you don't like us at all, but it's background noise for you, whatever it may be. That's what we are here to provide for you guys. So we're here with you. Without an audience, there is no Woodward Bets. There is no Woodward Sports. So we appreciate each and every one of you, and it's a great point. We're not trying to trivialize anything. We're trying to stay in our lane, what we know, and try to navigate around it and still have some fun here with our bets, so with DFS, with fantasy sports, and that's what it's all about. Community, having fun, a little distraction from the day-to-day, everyday life things that can kind of bring you down sometimes. So we want to bring the people that bring you up, have some fun, and that's what we're planning on doing here today. So Fred's Friday. Normally we do beers with beer. We'll bring that back next Friday here. Scott drinking apparently beats $18 Modelo's at the pools down there in Miami. So thoughts on that? A little stiff. You can buy the whole damn box of Modelo's for less than that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, in college, you could get a 30-pack of Milwaukee's Best for like $12, or Natty Light, Natty
Yes,
Light,
sir.
the High Life. I mean, I survived off that stuff in college. So $18 at a bar for Modelo. It just seems like the bar knows the audience. They know who's there. Guys and girls are in town. Most of them are going to walk away with some scratch there after playing in the DK final or whatever satellite they're playing. And so it's just supply and demand. All these people that they know, they've plucked them from Michigan and Connecticut or wherever it's cold and dreary this time of the year. They're in Miami, and they'll say, I know Scott has said this at least once. Well, I'm in town. Might as well spend $20 for one beer.
When in Rome, as the old saying goes, but you're right. They know, there's $12.5 million on the line here. We're going to cash in on these damn Modelos. There he is. Live view of Scott there. Thought he'd be on the beach, but found some forest there and laid out. But yeah, they're gonna cash in and dust off them boxes of Modelo, and Scott's probably happily paying. I would hope $20. Give that extra $2. Might as well give him the tip on that. But 5 Modelos for $100. That's pretty stiff. But hopefully he's having a good time down there. He'll be back next week. But we are here again to talk some sports for tonight. We're going to cover the NHL at his Beastie's lane. So he's going to give you some plays, some thoughts there. I'm going to cover the NBA, doing the same. Let's recap Thursday Night Football, first of all, before we get into things. We'll get into some news and notes here in the NFL as well. But what a game last night. Kansas City and the Chargers, back and forth game. The Chargers continually getting down to the red zone, not being able to capitalize, continuing to go for it on fourth down. So let's talk about that for a minute. We keep hearing the word analytics. And these announcers, I think they sound fancy throwing these words around and really don't know what it means and what the behind the scenes is. So thoughts on the game, thoughts on some of those fourth down calls. It feels very much like the Chargers gave this game away. And then the momentum turned, and you just knew Kansas City was going to take over once they won that coin toss in overtime. That was pretty much it for me. I knew they were going to go down. I didn't know it was going to end the way it did with Travis Kelce weaving through the defense and no one seemingly even touching him. But so thoughts on the game, thoughts on some of those fourth down calls. The pretty entertaining game last night for sure.
Well, I mean, 2 minutes into the game, every thoughts and prayers. I rarely say that, but to Donald Parham Jr., that was
Yes.
a nasty knock he took. Right, he caught the touchdown, and his own head bounced off the turf, and it was pretty bad. And I was taken back by it, right, because it looked like he had some sort of little seizure when he was strapped into the thing. We know Joe Buck. What is he supposed to do? Joe Buck said, "Hey, it's cold outside here." For LA purposes, maybe it was cold. Not making fun or making light of it, but hey, it was a nasty situation. It looked much more than a concussion here. So everything I've heard today, he's stable. He's in the hospital. So all the best to Donald Parham Jr. and everybody in that Chargers organization here. But in terms of the game here, you just knew after Coach Staley, who's an outstanding coach, by the way, he just didn't want to kick the field goal, right? And if you look at, I believe they had 3 opportunities, so they could have hung 9 points. They lost in a walk-off touchdown here. But to be honest with you, Beer, I'm cool with it, right? Staley is kind of a new wave coach. He's a young guy. He's really got the ear of the league. He's got the ear of his team there. They look up to him. They respect to him. And they say, well, you know what? If this is what you're going to do, then we respect it. And you always have to go with, right? Even in the fourth quarter, you hear all that stuff going on social media. Well, if they would have kicked the field goal here, it would have made, well, guess what? If they would have kicked the field goal, who knows what kind of chain of events it would have set off. And who knows if we even got to overtime, a kick for 3 points, having made it or lost it, that changes the sequence of events. If you've ever watched Back to Future, you can't screw with the time continuum. So to say,
That's right.
If they would have went for 3 of those kicks, they would have had 9 points, they would have won the game. I say hold off. The game happened how it's supposed to without the kicks. If we rewind time and go back, who knows what the heck would have happened. A kick goes off the upright. Kansas City takes it in for a touchdown, and then they have more points, and then it doesn't even go to overtime. So just let the game play out how it played out in front of us. It's never really I never really liked that. Well, if they had opportunity on 4th and 1, and you don't know how that specific play would have affected the long run of the game here. So it was a very entertaining game. Outstanding. These two teams will surely meet again here soon in the playoffs here, and it was unbelievably fantastic. And you knew, Travis Kelce was kind of a non-issue, a non-factor for literally 3/4 of the game. And then the fourth quarter, he had that one, boom, right up the middle, tackled inside the 10-yard line, and then he just went nuts. He went absolutely nuclear after that. 191 yards, 197 yards or something along those lines, and 2 touchdowns. And if I remember correctly, this time yesterday when we broadcast, I said this one seems like one of those games where if you don't have said player A in the captain spot or the MVP spot, you can go to bed. And guess what? Travis Kelce was that guy. If he wasn't in your MVP or captain spot, you probably went to bed. There was nothing going on.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about him. People were worried, and is he dust? Is he done? And we felt it was a good bounce back spot, a good matchup. He had succeeded against this team in their last matchup, and fairly certain you called the final score of this game as well. So I know I was on the Chargers, was feeling pretty good about that one, and until I wasn't. But I agree with you on some of the calls, and it's one of those things. People are always going to be divided on things. If you don't go it for it on fourth down, what's the problem? If you're going for it on fourth down, you're being too aggressive. There's always going to be a split on those kind of things, kicking the field goal, not kicking the field goal. I agree with what they did. You're not going to beat a high-powered offense like the Kansas City Chiefs by kicking field goals, and you have to have enough faith in your offense that you get within the 5-yard line, you need to score touchdowns, and that just did not happen last night. So it's easy to go back and look at it again and say, well, if they would have kicked field goals, they would have won the game. That's not how you're looking. You got to look at it in real time, in the moment. He made a decision. You can agree with it, not agree with it. I think he's one of the better young coaches that we have, and I rather lean on that aggressiveness and going for it more than kicking field goals. Now, there's going to be times, sure, you kick the field goal, it makes sense in certain spots here, but he didn't make Josh Kelly fumble the ball at the goal line. I think he made some solid decisions. They just didn't pay off this time. But looking at that small sample only is the mistake. You need to look at it as an entire sample over an entire season, over years and years and years. Then we can start to look at the analytics of it, and does it make sense? But it makes me laugh when these announcers want to sound, analytics and this and that, and they really don't know the ins and outs of it. And I'll be the first to admit, I don't know all of the ins and outs of it. I mean, there's some smart people doing some very smart research with a lot of things outside of football. But this stuff alone, I think the calls were right. They just didn't pan out this time.
No doubt. And who's to say that, I mean, you and I, we broadcast, I mean, not as a large scale as Thursday night football or football Sunday here. We take our own notes and stuff. And who's to say, and again, I love Joe Buck. I prefer him over Chris Collinsworth, Tony Romo, all those guys. I mean, Joe Buck puts the work in here, but who's to say he doesn't do his own notes? So he's talking analytics, or he's saying this guy was born and raised here and he don't know. It's all that stuff is provided to him by someone else here. So it's just one of those things where Joe Buck tries to be a little bit too more cool or hip than he actually really is.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see if they start to actually learn more about analytics. I think it would certainly add to the broadcast. I love how they tiptoe around the betting, and sometimes at the end of the game they'll say, "Oh, this means a lot to some people," and some people want to see that more integrated into the broadcast. I don't really want people talking about stuff that they don't know a whole lot about. So, I'm fine with it kind of being in the background. And, I don't know that I want to see the spreads and the totals and everything. We already know all that. You can find that elsewhere. You don't need it on the broadcast. I think it is coming, unfortunately, for all the new people entering the betting world, the gambling world. They want to make it as easy as possible. So we'll start to see more of that as we move forward. But let's cover some of the news from today in the NFL. Obviously, a lot with some games being moved, potentially more to come. So we hear anything here, we will update it for sure. But more COVID. New Orleans, Sean Payton tests positive. So looks like they'll be without their head coach this weekend. No Damian Harris tomorrow night in that game against Indianapolis. Join us tomorrow morning on the Saturday show. We'll talk more about that game. We went from a 2-game slate to a 1-game slate. New England and Indy, as of now, still scheduled to kick off tomorrow night. So we'll cover that on the Saturday show. Lamar Jackson, no practice today, but Harbaugh is sounding like he could still play. So that's going to continue to be a game-time decision. So very tough if you're in a season-long league on what to do. If Lamar Jackson is your quarterback, I hope there's a backup option. Try to have somebody in that same window, in that 4 o'clock game, in a Sunday night game, in a Monday night game. Have some backups ready to go just in case. So he will be a true game-time decision. Josh Allen, on the other hand, dealing with that foot injury. Sounds like he's going to give it a go here this week for Buffalo. Taylor Heineke of Washington placed on the COVID list. So Washington down to bare bones at the quarterback position. A bunch of backups there. So those are not the guys I would suggest going out and getting here for Washington. Cleveland, we know, dealing with a ton of COVID issues as well. That game, again, moved till Monday. Javonte Williams of Denver returns to practice today. So trending towards a return here. We mentioned Damian Harris being out. Miles Sanders, Jordan Howard back for Philadelphia this week. I think that's about it. Beastie, are you seeing anything I'm not seeing? Sterling Shepard questionable. No Daniel Jones for the Giants this week. That's about most of the big names right now that we know. Again, this is going to be a very fluid situation. By the minute, by the hour, things are going to continue to change. But that's the majority of the news and notes for today. Anything to add there? Anything standing out? Thoughts here on an NFL Friday?
No, it's realistically, it has to make us, better DFS players, better sports bettors, because things are changing so fast, and on the fly, we're always having to amend what we're doing with our notes and with our process. So as you laid it out there, those are the big names that are out here. And surely, as unfortunate as this sounds, hate to say it, it's only Friday now, but there will be several more big news stories that will drop before kickoff at 1 p.m. on Sunday. So got to keep your ear to the ground and tune into everything we're doing here at Woodward Sports for up to the date kind of information here.
All right, one more game I did miss. They announced earlier the Rams and Seattle were going to be moved to Tuesday. So another game moving from, I believe that was a Sunday afternoon game. That one is now scheduled for Tuesday. So looks like we're going to have some midweek football, which I don't mind. I don't want football every night of the week. I know some people would probably love that, but I don't mind. I've grown to love these one game, island games and DFS and some of the strategy behind it. So we'll get that on Tuesday. Doubleheader on Monday now with the Browns and Raiders game being moved, and Rams Seahawks officially moved till Tuesday. One more note, Mark Ingram back at practice today for the New Orleans Saints. So that backfield may be back to full strength, even though they may be missing their coach, Sean Payton. So again, come on back the rest of the weekend. Sunday is when we really try to try everything together here on the show. Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Will be our NFL show, top to bottom on the slate. More injuries to come, like you mentioned. We'll continue to update you guys and keep you in the loop. But let's turn our attention. Let's go to some hockey here, Beastie. I know this is your lane. We still got games going on. We got DFS. We got betting opportunities. But let's give the people some hockey knowledge here. What are we doing tonight on this NHL slate?
Yeah, absolutely. This is fantastic. And as you said, the COVID protocols, advanced protocols, as the NFL puts it, those are starting to go on big time in the NHL now. If you look back last season, they had a bubble. There was no fans. The teams went from point A to point B, and that was about it. But tonight, Friday the 17th, there's only 6 games on this one, so it's really easy. I'd like to think, Beer, I do my best work on a small slate. There's only 6 games here. So let's get right into it. I want to talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins are playing home against the Buffalo Sabres again. You'll notice a theme. I've been on with you guys every day this week, so anybody that watches it, his name is Vinny. He always mess the program. I love what you're saying. So Vinny, if you're out there, thank you. And hopefully you'll see a theme here. We're always picking on bad teams, and there's no worse team than the Buffalo Sabres here. Pittsburgh Penguins, they remain on their when they host the Sabres. The Penguins 15-8-5, and they're 4th in the Metropolitan Division. And Tristan Jarry looks to be their starting goaltender, 23rd time this season. He's 13-5. He's been outstanding. 9.34 save percentage. So you're looking at .93. Let's just call it 94% save average. And you look at what the Buffalo Sabres are rolling out tonight. They did beat Winnipeg on, I believe it was a few days ago when I said let's stack Winnipeg, but I was wrong. I'm a man. I can own up to that now. That was Tuesday here. Buffalo 9-15-4, nothing special here. Malcolm Subban is going to be their starting goalie tonight. I believe little brother of PK Subban of the Montreal Canadiens fame here, but Subban only made 1 start this season. He's been on the IR the whole season. He's only 0-1 in his first start. He gave up 6 goals here. So the Pittsburgh are coming into this one home for 2 nights in a row, playing a goalie who hasn't played all season. And when he did, he gave up 6 goals. So this has got me licking my chops here. And when you look at the Pittsburgh Penguins here, their first line, what are you going to do? It's Sidney Crosby, first line, first power play unit, an up-and-coming kid who I've stacked a lot this season. It's paid dividends here, and that's Evan Rodriguez. If you notice it in hockey here, it's always 1 center and 2 wingers on the same line. But Pittsburgh, they have 2 centers on their first line. Evan Rodriguez, as I said, he's only $5,800 on FanDuel here. Chris Letang, stud defenseman, first line, first power play unit, and then Kasperi Kapanen. So that first line for Pittsburgh is going to do wonders against the Buffalo Sabres here. In one more game, I as you said yesterday, after I gave my NHL breakdown, I could talk about hockey for hours on end here, but we have to end sometime and let our weekend start here. But I love the St. Louis Blues here. The Dallas Cowboys are headed to St. Louis to take on the Blues, as I said here. Braden Holtby looks like he'll be the goalie for the Dallas Stars. We all know Holtby. He played in Washington for all those years, surefire Hall of Famer, but he just doesn't have that same juice anymore. He's 5-6-1. He's allowed, I believe, 31 or 32 goals. His save percentage has dipped below, I believe, 9 even, 900, something like that here. He's given up 3.4 goals a game here. So I love the idea of the St. Louis Blues. Charlie Lindgren is going to be the goalie there. Sorry, I'm jumping around here. But when you look at the Blues, right, they skate fast, and they have big, long, lanky defensemen that get the puck, and they keep the puck on the blue line for their centers, for their wingers here. In that first line, I've been stacking them all season. Ryan O'Reilly, first line, first power play unit. Brendan Saad used to play for the Chicago Blackhawks. And then you can also add in Pavel Buchnevich, came from the Rangers, now with St. Louis here. Vladimir Tarasenko, and even Ivan Barbasev. This line, it's a first and second line kind of combo here, but that's what I'm about here. You get a little taste of the first line. You get a little taste of the second power play unit. So personally speaking, I'm going to be making a lot of lines, sprinkling in the Pittsburgh Penguins and the St. Louis Blues here. And of course, I have some good over-unders and some betting info on these games, all 6 of them, and more importantly, Pittsburgh and St. Louis. But as you say, a little teaser. We'll wait for the end of the broadcast for that one.
That's right. Best part of the show. I mean, hopefully people don't, if they're watching this on demand, they don't miss all of the information and the nuggets on the way to best bets. I mean, if you're short on time, you want to rewind or fast forward to the end of the show, we certainly get it. But hopefully you guys are enjoying the content in between as well. Great breakdown of the hockey slate there. I know I've learned a lot too, just listening to some of the stuff you're talking about. As long as I've been in this game, you can always learn something new, no matter what arena, what area you're in. Continue to learn, and that's certainly our message here at Woodward Bet. So love it. I may even try a little hockey tonight. We'll see if I can find some time here. All right, let's transition to the NBA again. Injuries, the big story here. This is going to continue to be a theme here with the NBA. 8 games on the docket here tonight. So injuries that we know as of now: Russell Westbrook will be out for the Los Angeles Lakers. The Bucks going to be without Giannis Antetokounmpo. So two huge names missing out of those lineups. So a lot to go around with those teams. We'll talk about that here momentarily. Miami going to be thin once again without their 2 best players, Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. No De'Aaron Fox for Sacramento. Tyrese Halliburton also questionable there for Sacramento. Ja Morant remains out for the Memphis Grizzlies. No Anthony Edwards tonight, was placed in protocol earlier today. So tons of opportunity to go around there with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Clint Capella questionable with an illness here. We'll see if he's able to go for Atlanta. LaMelo Ball may return here tonight, questionable for Charlotte. CJ McCollum remains out for Portland. Bobby Portis also out for Milwaukee. Questionable tags on Cole Anthony, Mo Bamba, and that I'm not going to keep going down this. I mean, we could rattle them off. That's the big names. Those are the names that you need to pay attention to. So as far as DFS goes, I think you start with the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, you take Giannis out of that lineup. It's probably one of the highest usage. He is one of the highest usage players in the league. So anytime you take him out of the lineup, a great opportunity here for a guy like Chris Middleton back in that lineup tonight. Drew Holiday as well. We saw his ceiling the other night. A revenge game for him as well, going back to play New Orleans. The Lakers, like I mentioned, no Westbrook. That puts more on the plate of LeBron James. I think he becomes a lot more interesting with this news here tonight. The Kings without Fox, potentially Halliburton. Love Davion Mitchell tonight, the rookie there with Sacramento. Super cheap on DraftKings. And that's the majority of my thoughts here in the NBA. Again, things change by the minute. Norman Powell, a solid mid-range play here for you tonight. Some other options, on Sacramento, on New Orleans. A guy like Buddy Hield should have more offensive on his plate. We mentioned Minnesota. You can look at Karl Anthony Towns on the high end, a guy like Malik Beasley on the low end, but really taking advantage when there's injuries. Do some research on who gets the bump, where the minute's going to go to. I think that's a key in any sport. But the NBA, knowing the rotations, knowing who's going to benefit when certain guys are out, is really the key, and not worrying as much about ownership in the NBA. I mean, it's the most projectable sport that we have. If a guy's going to get minutes, we generally know here's his fantasy points per minute. He's going to come within a certain range. Where hockey, Beastie, as you know, baseball, Mike Trout could be in the best spot possible. He's going to go 0 for 4, 0 for 5 in some of those games where Drew Holiday without Giannis in the lineup most of the time is going to get there. So again, best bets will be coming up here at the end of the show, which we are closing in on here. So any other thoughts here in the sports world, Beastie? We covered hockey. Well, we covered football. We'll be back tomorrow talking some college football, talking a little bit more NFL. Shorter show on Saturday, but we will get you the knowledge on that show as well. So anything else for the people here that we have not covered yet? Again, trying to wave through like Travis Kelce. We're trying to do the same through this COVID news. So anything to add here before we get to our best bets for tonight?
I would say if you're going to bet or play DFS here, everything you think just go the extra mile with the research. Yeah, I think I read that. No, actually go back and double check all your stats, double check all your facts, because again, I've done that before. I placed bets or I played DFS lines and come to find out the guy wasn't even in the starting lineup. So do your due diligence. It's okay. It's a Friday afternoon. Hopefully you can get 5 or 10 extra minutes for yourself, and just be safe, right? Wear a mask, cover your mouth, whatever you need to do. And just be comfy, and let's play some DFS. Let's get some best bets going.
Love it. Let's do it. It's floor is yours, man. Let's finish this show up strong. We gave him the DFS plays in hockey and the NBA for tonight. Time to put our money where our mouth is. Our favorite part of the show, our best bets for Friday night. Give the people some winners. What do you got?
Absolutely. I want to focus on 3 hockey games here. And as you can guess it, I love Pittsburgh minus a goal and a half in this one. They're home against the Buffalo Sabres. I'm looking at a 4-1, 5-1 final in here, if you even want to put in a 60-minute final score one. But my play is the Pittsburgh Penguins minus a goal and a half. St. Louis, as I mentioned, they're playing Dallas here. I love St. Louis minus 120 in this one. I have a feeling St. Louis wins about 4-2, something along those lines here. And one more I want to mention, the Vegas Golden Knights are taking on the New York Rangers. This one is a heavyweight matchup in terms of December Friday hockey here. Both teams are playing outstanding here. And look, the Rangers are the favorites in this one, but I'm going to zig when others zag. I love the Las Vegas Golden Knights plus 185 here. So if you parlay that with the other two, you're looking at a nice solid hunk of change here. If you put $5 or $10 on that, you're looking at a couple $100 in return. I have the Vegas Golden Knights winning this one 4-1 if anybody's weird like me and they love that final 60-minute score bet here. So give me St. Louis minus $120, give me Pittsburgh minus a goal and a half, and give me the Vegas Raiders plus 185.
I love it. Love it. Those bets are fun. I was hoping you had thrown that bet in on that football game last night, or somebody did. Just taking a shot on some of those as we see betting becoming legalized and more in more and more states. So we're seeing more and more creative ways that they're allowing you to bet. The single game parlays, the different scores, things like that. So a ton of fun, no doubt. So take advantage of that. I'm, of course, going to stick with the NBA. We'll give you 3 games there as well. So a total of 6 best bets going on the board. I'm going to start with the Atlanta Hawks at home here, minus the 2.5 against Denver. Denver has been a struggle. Got blown out the other night at home by Minnesota, now traveling to Atlanta. Atlanta starting to get it going after a slow start here. Trae Young is an absolute stud, so that one will be fun. Jokic against Trae Young. I think Atlanta right now the better team. They're at home, just a 2.5-point spread. Give me the Hawks. I'm going to give you another favorite here, this time a road team. I'm going with Milwaukee, a minus the 2. Very similar thoughts to the other night. The Bucks were at home. We're underdogs to Indiana because they were missing Giannis Antetokounmpo. We saw them blow out the Indiana Pacers. I think they'll do the same here with New Orleans. Even without Giannis, Drew Holiday going back to New Orleans, Middleton back in that lineup. I think the Bucks still have enough in their tank, enough firepower to defeat this New Orleans team. So Milwaukee minus the 2. And then one total tonight, I'm going under 226 in the San Antonio and Utah game. It's concerning a little bit. Utah team we know can score a ton of points here, but I think San Antonio is going to struggle. I think Utah going to be able to put it on cruise control. So under 226 in that one. So there we go. 3 hockeys, 3 NBAs on the docket here for tonight. So thank you so much for listening to the show, guys. I want to bring up, I forgot to bring this up in the opening, Stuff a Studio. You still got a little bit of time to get involved with that. It ends today, so if you want to get involved, you can drop a toy off at the studio, or you can get involved online at Woodward Sports and do a donation that way. But basically, such a great cause. We're glad to be a part of it. We've seen a great response from the community out there, just literally stuffing the studio with toys, and all these toys are going to go out to the amazing kids out at Mott Children's Hospital in Ann Arbor. So if you want to get involved, not too late. You got a little bit of time to get involved with this, but super excited for that. So thoughts on that, final thoughts for the people here as we head into our weekend, Friday night. What do you got, buddy?
Yeah, it's Friday afternoon. I just want to say that Stuff a Studio for Mott Children's Hospital and U of M. What a fantastic cause. I mean, I guess I'll speak for you here, Chris. We're of sound mind. We're healthy. We have a roof over our heads. I mean, there's a lot to be thankful for. I know Christmas is a week or two away, but it just doesn't mean you can't be thankful when it's not Thanksgiving here. But we have a lot to be grateful for. And anytime I have any little ounce of time, energy, or money to give back to someone that's less fortunate than me, I take that chance. It's not for, photo ops or to say, look what I did, but it's just being a good human being, being a good man, being a good woman here. So make sure you check out Stuff a Studio. As Beer said, you can make a donation online there. And again, it's Friday afternoon. The weekend is here. So I wish everybody safe and healthy happiness this coming weekend.
Yeah, well said. And if you didn't get involved with this one, there's other causes. There's other things out there as well that you can do to make a difference. Again, we're all very fortunate in our own ways. Be thankful, like I said, not just on Thanksgiving, but sometimes you got to sit back and take a look at things. And we're grateful to be here with you guys here at Woodward Bets with the Woodward Sports Network. Super pumped to be a part of this. And of course, that Stuff a Studio. Excited to see the faces, just the gifts coming in, and the faces on these kids who are going through what they're going through is priceless. So excited for that. So that will wrap up the show. Again, follow us on Twitter at Woodward Bets. Follow the network at Woodward Sports. So we'll be back tomorrow morning breaking everything down in the sports world. It'll be a shorter show, but we'll get you the information you need on that Saturday show. For Detroit Beastie, for Boy Spencer behind the glass, and for Scott laying in the weeds down in Miami, I am Beer. We are Woodward area. Now we got him in at least some water. It's drinking a little bit better beer there, so I like it. He's upgrading. He's learning from the Beers with Beer segment. Nothing better there. So thank you so much for watching, guys. We are Woodward Bets. Good luck with your bets tonight. Have a great weekend, and we'll catch you in the morning.